Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at belisiofoods.com/careers.
At Vinton County National Bank, we believe in supporting the areas where we live and work. Now, we'd like to honor those who also serve our communities. Our new Community Champions account is especially for first responders, veterans, active military, and anyone employed in the fields of healthcare or education. This account offers rewards, discounts, and other benefits to those who give so much to others. Vinton County National Bank, rewarding those who serve.
Every day.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday, and welcome to the morning show where we have a ton of stuff to let you know about Football Friday night.
It is.
Whoop. Pete Wilson makes the world's worst coffee. That's breaking news.
Okay. All right. Well,
So says everyone except for Pete Wilson.
Okay. My comeback is it's good enough for me.
So, okay.
And it disappears over there. I'm not the only one. Now, maybe it's because that's the only choice.
It's the only coffee.
That's
so
right.
What exactly is it about Pete? Now, Dylan, you ran your mouth this morning, so you've got to say, what is it about Pete Wilson coffee that's so bad?
Well, it's just very bitter.
Do you make it super strong?
I don't, there is no measurement involved. It's just kind of by eye. So it does come out a little bit different each time. But yes, I do like a little boldness to my coffee.
Well, the thing about
it's not water, it's coffee.
It does get you going though. Like you either get really hyper and like you like are able to just run around like the Flash or something, or you're just very shaky.
All right.
Now you know the secret to Pete Wilson's talent.
All
It
right.
is the coffee.
And I cannot verify these statistics, but I will throw it out. 3% of America will warm up old coffee from the day before, and I am in that 3% group.
Oh, honey, we need to have a discussion.
It's wonders what a microwave will do for 24-hour-old coffee.
Now I know why people talk about Pete Wilson coffee.
Okay.
I've had microwaved coffee before, and I'm going to go ahead and say that is probably worse than Pete Wilson coffee. But when you combine the two worlds,
it's just not right.
Yeah, and the first step in the process is to go to the store and find the cheapest coffee you possibly can.
No, you don't do that.
Oh, yes, I do. That's what I do.
Oh,
that's
honey.
how we start out, and then we throw a certain amount in there. We don't measure. You don't have to have a filter. A napkin will work if you have to.
Wait. Stop.
I'm just giving you all kinds of tips.
It's getting worse.
All kinds of tips to start off with. Okay.
Now I know why.
Okay. Well,
okay.
I tell you what, TGIF, thank God it's football time.
Yes, it is. Whoop, whoop.
Right. And that's what we've got tonight. We've got a lot of playoff football games all over the state, and we've got two of local interest, of course, and that's what we're going to focus, our news coverage on here to start our news spot, at least today, because a lot of people are going to be there, local fans. The Jackson Ironmen and their fan base have the opportunity and the advantage of not having to travel.
Yes.
Right up at Alumni Stadium, the Ironmen will be in the first round of the playoffs, and they will be hosting the Marietta Tigers. This is a
old-time rivalry. That was like back in my high school and your high school days.
Well, Marietta, we'll go over a little bit about, profile Marietta for the younger folks who may not know a whole lot about them. But, of course, it's just about an hour and a half away on the river, great river town. The Ironmen used to play them, Jennifer, as you say, in the old days, and they're going to play them again. But the Ironmen finished fourth in the computer rankings in Division III, Region 11. 4 is very important because if you finish 4, you not only are in the top 8, which means you get a guaranteed home game, but if you win the first game, you get a second game at home.
Yeah.
If you were number 5, you would probably have to travel. If the higher seed team always wins.
Sure.
So that was very big, Jackson finishing 4th. And of course, For Coach Andy Hall and the Ironman program, it is old hat as far as getting into the playoffs. I think it's about 5 years in a row now for them, multiple playoff trips. On the other hand, for Marietta, they have not been in the playoffs since 2002, 21 years.
No way.
21
They were
years.
always so good when we were
21 years. Well,
in school.
in the old days, there were only 4 teams that made the playoffs, so it was much harder.
True.
Now, then they went to 8, and then they went to 16. So more teams get into playoffs. I think mathematically, I think I'm safe in saying that, than don't get in. So more teams in there, and there's a debate on that we won't go into right now, but it does give more teams at least the opportunity. Marietta was seeded 13th. Jackson was seeded 4th. Marietta would not have made the playoffs, of course, if it were an 8-team format.
Sure.
They finished with a 5-5 record, and I can tell you unequivocally from reading a news report after they won their final regular season game, 28-24, that helped solidify their playoff standing. They are excited about playing this game. Not only have they only played one playoff game, they've never won one.
Oh.
So their goal is to
win. These are the scary games, Pete.
Their goal
when
is
they're ready
to win a playoff game. And, you do think about that element. Jackson has taken care of business all year. They've won 8 games in a row. They've had a running clock the last 6 games in a row. That means that you're up by more than 30 points during the game, and they don't stop the clock to get it over with because, it's kind of like a mercy rule type thing.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It's a thing. It's a thing. It has been for several years now in high school football. And, it gets the game over with quicker. Your starter, you don't have as many injuries or whatever, and it's obvious who is going to win the game. And so, but anyway, Jackson has played very well. And, you just are, as a fan, when you're turning everything upside down, thinking that, Marietta is really excited. Will the Ironmen be excited? Well, I'm sure they will because they've taken care of business, but it's old hat for the Ironmen. They knew some time ago they were going to make the playoffs. It's just where they were going to land.
Sure.
It was obvious they were on a track to do that. So Jackson always has to be ready to play. Marietta, 5-5 record. They did finish the season with a win over their rival Warren Local, 28-24. I'll tell you a little bit about Marietta. Marietta has 2 kids in the backfield who are very good. In their last victory over Warren Local, they have one kid who broke the all-time touchdown record this year, scored a couple touchdowns against Warren Local, scored 21 touchdowns this year. That is a Marietta football record. His partner in the backfield went over the 1,000-yard mark, which is kind of like a yardstick for a very, very good rusher. That means you're averaging 100 yards a game at least. Yeah. So it looks like that Marietta is a running team. And so Jackson will have to be ready to stop the run, obviously, if Marietta it runs true to form. The Ironmen, on the other hand, have shown the ability to both run and pass, but they are mainly a running team too.
Okay.
Cade Wolford, of course, is in the backfield, and the young man from Marietta has 21 touchdowns. And there is a shot of Cade right there, number 8.
Yep.
He is on a team that has achieved mightily. Some people think they have overachieved based on the fact that they had an inexperienced team overall this year. Cade does stand out. You have to say that. The young man from Marietta, 21 touchdowns, school record. We're not sure about Jackson, but we think Cade has the Jackson record. Unfortunately, there is not a record book that you can verify this to.
I can't believe that we don't have a record.
We don't. They just weren't kept. I kept a lot of the stats, but year to year, I turned them over to the coach, and we've had different coaches.
Yeah.
So Cade has 31 touchdowns.
Whoa.
31 touchdowns. He has scored most of his touchdowns on the ground, but he's also caught, I think, 5 or 6 touchdown passes. Man. He has run a kickoff back for a touchdown. He has run a punt back for a touchdown. And I will just break this news, too. It just actually came out yesterday. No surprise, he was named the Frontier Athletic Conference Player of the Year.
So, that's so good.
A great honor, and 6 of his teammates were also named to the FAC, too. If we get around to that, we'll mention all that, too. But it's going to be a great matchup tonight. And the rules are a little bit different, and we want to make sure the fans know this. Tickets, for instance.
Oh boy.
Right,
The,
right.
the ticket controversy of the.
And it is one.
Oof.
If you wanted an advance ticket for tonight's game or any playoff game in the state, and that includes the Vinton County Vikings playing at Gallia Academy tonight,
Yep.
you had to get it online on the Ohio High School Athletic Association website. The cost, they went up this year, $12 adult, $9 for students. All right. Couldn't get them at the school or anywhere else, a
Right.
paper ticket or whatever. Remember, there's some people who maybe don't even have computers, don't like to go online,
Don't have cell
don't
phones.
know how to go online.
Right.
I mean, there are people out there.
Yes.
All right. They don't all live in caves either. They live in houses. But
Yes.
anyway,
Agreed.
also a convenience factor. Maybe you're just more comfortable getting a ticket, from a live person or whatever.
I mean, I'm kind of old school. I like to have that paper ticket in my hand.
Right. If you don't get a ticket online, last year there wasn't any other way to do it. Now you can get a ticket at the game, but guess what? $15. $15 for all tickets. It doesn't matter whether you're an adult or student. That is a big jump from last year.
So they're punishing people basically for not getting them ahead of time.
Right, they are. And this dovetails right into something that's very current. As a matter of fact, the Ohio Speaker of the House, Jason Stevens,
Yes.
made arrangements to call in here,
He
talk
did.
to Matt McKee and Josh Willett
I
just
heard.
in the last half hour. I listened in on that. And the state legislators have heard a lot of complaints from all over the state.
Don't tick off football fans in Ohio.
About
Come on
this.
now.
Well, they have done it. A combination of not being able, to get tickets in person, and the fact that when you do now, they're going to cost a whole
You're
lot,
punished
a
for
whole
it.
lot more. So what Ohio House Speaker Stevens said, he happens to also be our state representative that represents all of Jackson County, all of Gallia, a good chunk of Lawrence, and some of Vinton.
Yep.
I don't think he represents Vinton anymore. Or if he does, it's part of Vinton. But anyway, he's familiar to the folks in
He
Vinton.
certainly knows us.
And he is
down
the
here.
Speaker of the House, just not a legislator. He said that there is pending legislation. He said it may be dropped today, and it would address the two complaints. Those are that that you have to get a ticket online, and that if you don't get a ticket online, it's a lot more.
Yes.
So two things, the availability of tickets, how you get tickets, and the cost, because they are going up a good bit. One of the things that people don't understand, and I can understand why they don't understand this,
Yes.
the schools are not making this money.
This is not Jackson or Vinton or Gallipolis
No, it is-
High School
It is not.
decision.
It is not. If you want to call this gouging, this is not being done by the schools.
No, the schools don't have any decision in this.
Right. The schools do have this. Having Jackson having hosted playoff games before, whether they're in them or not, because they have that great stadium and they've been a host for other playoff games, they get expenses. But what I have been told by athletic directors is that's all they get. They basically try to cover their costs,
Yes.
for the use of the facility or whatever, and paying people to work. They get to
Right.
keep concessions and like that. But, the support groups do. That is an advantage. But, they're not. There's no advantage to have it other than
Home field advantage.
yeah,
Or,
for the convenience of your fans or
Yep.
whatever. Or one of the reasons that Phil Howard always talked about to have a playoff game was it's good for the town because, you have a lot of people in town,
huge
restaurants,
good-
gasoline,
Yes, absolutely.
that sort of thing. And they see your facilities and, Jackson High School, great place and all that. So Jason Stevens is hoping, he said that the pressure that probably the Ohio High School Athletic Association is hearing, they hope that will cause some changes before legislation is actually necessary.
Yes,
So
correct.
we will see how that plays out. But if you're thinking to yourself or you've talked to your friends and you're complaining about the ticket situation, you're not alone.
Yeah.
You're not alone in the state of Ohio. So we will see what happens there. But speaking about the other game that is involved locally, the Vinton County Vikings, 9-1. One of their best teams in school history, without a fact. The only loss they had was in the very first game to another playoff team, Unioto, non-conference game. They lost 21-20, and the difference was a missed extra point kick.
Heartbreaker.
It was heartbreaking. I'm sure they would like to have that game back. Since then, the Vikings have gone 9-1. They won 9 straight games in a row. And for the first time in many years, they won the Tri-Valley Conference Championship. They finished with a perfect 6-0 record.
That's awesome.
In the 9th week of the season, the next last conference game, they went to Nelsonville, York, the defending champion, and won that big game 13-7. That basically, that gave them a share of the title, and that was considered a showdown game almost from the beginning of the TVC schedule. The thought was among, the football aficionados that it would come down to Vinton County and Nelsonville. And the way it turned out, it did when the Vikings prevailed 13-7. Coach T.J. Carper, in his 3rd year there, has really made a lot of progress with the team. And this 2023 team achieved some notable records. And I'm going to go down some of them now. That's how special this team is. They were the first team to win the TVC Ohio title since 1999. Very special.
Okay.
They're only the 3rd team in school history to win 9 games. They have the number 1 offense in school history, meaning number of points scored during the season.
Mm-hmm.
They have the number 2 defense in school history based on points scored. This is their 6th playoff appearance. They have been in the playoffs the last 2 years. And, I know that they feel like this may be their best team of those 3. They had the largest margin of victory in school history in a game this year, 62-0. They had 69 points in a game.
Oh, gosh.
That is the most points that a Vinton County Viking team since they've had football in 1967 has ever scored.
Wow.
The defense, we talked about how good they are, 4 shutouts. In this day and age in high school football, and having been around, I can tell you, the offenses, they score more points than they used to. More passing involved, more sophisticated offenses. You have more 30-20 games and 40-30 games than you do 7-0 games these days. They had the most extra points in a game. That was 7. They also feel that they have the best grass field in Ohio. They put that on their resume. Of course, they don't have turf in Vinton County. They have grass, but they had a lot of success there. So tell me a little bit about their opponent, the Gallia Academy Blue Devils. Well, when we looked at the playoff points as they were coming in, because, they don't come in all at once.
Mm-hmm.
They come in gradually as, the results of the games come in last Friday night. And initially, the Vinton County Vikings were ranked 13th or 12th. I believe it was 13th. And it looked like that they would have to play at St. Clairsville. Now, that was not final, and you shouldn't have taken it as final, but that was the first thing you saw.
That was the thought.
How it was evolving. When you woke up the next morning, though, Vinton County had moved up to 10th. That's because all the points had come in. Not only what Vinton County did, they beat Wellston in the last game, but also you get points for who you beat, and then the teams you beat, you get what we call second level points. If those teams then win, you get partial credit because they beat somebody because you beat them.
Okay.
First and second level points. So when all those second level points came in, the Vikings moved up to 10th. What that means is instead of going to St. Clairsville, because remember, the top 8 teams are home.
Yes.
Teams 9 through 16 have to go on the road. And even though Vinton County was 9-1, they only finished 10th.
Yep.
So you ask why. They may be, one of the very best teams in that region. It is Division 4, Region 15, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
One division down from Jackson because the school's not quite as big. There are 7 total divisions. All right. The reason that they're 9-1 and still didn't finish in the top 8 is a lot of the teams on their schedule had losing records, so they don't get as much credit on the second level points.
Correct.
That's not their fault.
Right.
It's just the way.
They did their job. They won games.
That's all you can do.
You can do.
That's all you can do. Play your schedule. But they moved up to 10th, and as a result, they will make the much shorter trip to Gallia Academy. That's the good news. The bad news is Gallia Academy has a doggone good football team.
Uh-oh.
So I think it's safe to say, I talked to lots of folks in the area, the sports writers and the broadcasters and all like that. This game is much anticipated as one of the best matchups. First of all, when you have these matchups, you might be playing somebody out of the area. In this case, this is 2 area teams. They did scrimmage, by the way, earlier in the season.
Oh, okay.
By the way, of course, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
But they will be playing again. Vinton County has a very good offense, a very good defense, but they are known, I think, through their great defense because of 4 shutouts. Gallia Academy is known for their offense. They have some very talented, quick players. They finished with an 8-2 record, not quite as good as Benton County. However, their 2 losses came to very good teams. One of them was Ironton.
Oh.
Ironton finished 10-0. They are the cream of the crop in southeastern Ohio. They don't lose
Yep.
to anybody. They beat teams out of the area. It's just the way it is. They play in the same conference, the Ohio Valley Conference. But you know what? A couple of weeks ago when Gallia Academy played Ironton, they were very much in the game the whole time. The final score was Ironton 27, Gallia Academy 17.
Ooh.
They played them better, Gallia Academy. They played Ironton better than any other team in this area.
Oh, my.
Ironton did lose a game this year, by the way, but it was to a team called Cabell Midland, which is one of the big schools in West Virginia, and that was a very close game. When Jackson played Cabell Midland about 10 years ago, we heard that Cabell Midland might be the largest enrollment school in West Virginia.
Oh.
So that's who Ironton lost to, and that was a
Okay.
close game.
Yeah.
So anyway, the other team that Gallia Academy lost to was Fairland, which was another very good team in the OVC, and that game was very close. It ended up like a 4-point difference. Either
Okay.
team could have won. I had heard that Gallia Academy had a lot of turnovers in that game, and that cost them that game.
Gotcha.
So both the playoff games tonight are going to be at 7 p.m. All right. Every playoff game all the way through until they get to the semifinals, at least, are going to be on Friday. In past years, some were on Friday, some were on Saturday. Now, all of them are on Friday. The kickoff times will be 7 p.m.
Okay.
And the ticket situation, it doesn't change. The OHSAA, Ohio High School Athletic Association, controls that. If you were a Benton County fan, you had to do the same thing that Jackson Ironman fans do. You had
Yeah.
to go online to get your tickets, or you have to come to the gate and shell out $15. And remember,
You know, and I hate that. That's students also.
it is. And,
That's BS. I'm
and-
just saying.
And one of the things at Jackson was because of sponsorships during the regular season,
Yes.
students were in free.
yes.
And, that was an economic thing, but that was also a support thing for the team. The kids
They
that
want
know,
their
that know
peers
those
there,
players,
yeah.
you have a student section. They are as lively as any group, in the stadium.
Absolutely.
So at Jackson, so ahead of time, we talked about the tickets. There are no free tickets for students. I mean, the school can't step up and local people can't step up and do it. The OHSA won't allow it. They want $15 to those kids too.
That's just
So I know I'm vilifying
that's
the
a
OHSA,
lot of money.
but they're doing what they think they need to do.
Yeah.
And so another thing, there are reserved seats at Jackson. Just so there are at almost all stadiums,
Right.
what they call booster seats. You
Yes.
pay a little bit extra for them. They're the premium seats. They are not in effect for the playoffs.
So tough tootie if
They
you've got
do usually designate one side or the other for home and visitors. So I think that will be the same. But on the home side, even though you may have paid for a reserve seat for all 5 home games, that does not carry over into the postseason. So it is open seating.
Ooh boy.
So, those are the kind of things maybe you don't think about until, you get to the game. Also, here's another little rule. You know how, you might need to go to your car in the parking lot to pick up something. You left your jacket in there.
Yeah.
It's getting cold. No reentry into football games. I mean,
What?
you can't say, hey, listen, I'm coming back. You can't be stamped or whatever. There is no reentry once you leave a playoff game.
Why?
I can't tell you, but it's a rule. So, anyway.
The OHSAA needs an enema.
Okay.
I'm just going to tell you that. They
Right.
need to
Well, anyway.
chill out.
Anyway, one of the things that when they've argued about how many teams ought to be in the playoffs and are we watering down the field or whatever, because it's just like the NCAA tournament. You have a 16 seed against a 1 seed. It's usually a mismatch, and
Correct.
sometimes it's a
Although sometimes
it's a butchering.
You never know.
No, you
Stranger
never.
things
You
have
never
happened.
know. You gotta play the game. On one side, you can argue more teams have a chance, and they get excited, and all like that. And the other thing is watering down the field, and the claim that it's all about making money for the OHSAA. It's money driving the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You come to your own conclusion. But as far as the Marietta Tigers, we said we'd give you a little background on them. Jackson has not played them since 2010. For a number of years, Jackson and Marietta were both in the Southeastern Ohio Athletic
Right.
League, and they played each other in all the sports. As the SOL began to break up, Marietta went its separate ways. That was before it. I think the SEL finally broke up in about 2016.
Okay.
Totally, it was down to like 3 or 4 teams then. Marietta left in after the 2010 season, and it's been a little unsettled for them. They've been in 2 or 3 different conferences. It's been a little shaky for them trying to find, a conference that works for them. But they are in actually a couple conferences right now. And so, but the Ironmen have not played Marietta since 2010, but they will be playing them tonight. The winner will go on and play in the quarterfinals next week. There'll be 8 teams left out of the 16. We'll lose 8 of them. And if Jackson wins, they will be home again. And who would they play? It would be one of 2 teams. Number 5 seed Bloom Carroll, which is a school near Lancaster in Fairfield County. They will play Athens tonight at Bloom Carroll. Athens is the 12 seed. Athens is the 12 seed. Bloom Carroll is the 5th seed. So Bloom Carroll is the favorite, like Jackson is the favorite.
Okay.
So if both those teams win, Bloom Carroll will be at Jackson.
Very
if those
good.
2 teams lose, Athens and Marietta will be playing each
Oh
other.
my!
That
It's
can happen
all
too.
crazy.
But Bloom Carroll, not to get ahead of ourselves, Bloom Carroll is the defending regional champions. That's how good they are.
Oh.
The quality of the competition, no matter what happens tonight, not trying to slum Marietta because they made it in the playoffs, but it'll go up a good bit on paper at least with Bloom Carroll. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, but we got to play the game tonight. The game's tonight.
Got to play the game, and as I said, Benton County is the 10 seed. Gallia Academy is the 7 seed. If the Vikings would win tonight at Gallia Academy, they will be playing on the road again next week.
Okay.
So we'll get into that when we get into that.
Do you remember? This was like back when I was in school. I don't know if it was this way when you were in school or not, Pete, but there was like a time where everyone had Beat Tigers shirts because like during the season, like 5 of the teams that we played had tigers as mascots. Right. So it was just like you could just keep wearing that shirt over and over again for the season.
That would have to be maybe the number 1 mascot. I know what you're talking about.
It was a thing.
We had the Marietta Tigers. We had the Ironton Fighting Tigers. We had the Waverly Tigers.
Yeah, it just kept going. I forget who all they were.
I think Circleville is the Tigers too. So
I just remember having Beat Tigers shirts.
Right. Well, it works. It works on many Friday nights. Put it that way.
Yeah.
But anyway, just some sidelights that we want to tell you about. We want to salute not only Cade Woodford. We said he was the Frontier Athletic Conference Player of the Game.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Oh, I'm sorry, Frontier Athletic Conference Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But in addition, he had some teammates that made the All-FAC team.
Okay.
Sophomore tackle Jacob Allen, only a sophomore.
Wow.
Ethan Crabtree, that outstanding senior place kicker.
Ethan and his leg.
Who, kicked 3 field goals this year, kicked many extra points. He only missed 2 all year, and he was busy kicking extra points because Jackson scored a lot of touchdowns.
Yep.
And about 3 out of 4 times he had touchbacks when he kicked off. That means he kicked it into the end zone. Yeah. Which high school kickers don't do very often. Nolan Johnson, who was in the backfield with Cade Woodford, shouldn't be overshadowed because he's very good himself.
Yes.
I think that's Cade running, or it might be Nolan. I'm not sure. He's number 6.
Okay.
And he's a junior. He'll be back next year.
Nice.
So he made All-FAC. Another sophomore, Ryan Simons, only a sophomore. He played in the defensive backfield, but also turned in, especially from the middle of the season on, he became Jackson's leading receiver as a sophomore.
Oh, wow.
Caught over 20 passes this year on a team that is mainly a running team.
Cool.
Drew Wiley, one of the senior co-captains and tight end and inside linebackers, he made the All-FAC teams. Bodie Woodford, and you know who his brother is.
Yes.
Kate, Bodie is only a sophomore, and let's give props to Bodie, because when this season started, they looked at Jackson's, and what's the old saying? They don't rebuild, they reload. Jackson is in that category.
Yep.
The pressure is on. You're always expected to be excellent. It's how excellent. But when I looked at Jackson, I thought, there's some question marks. A lot of players graduated. There were like 18 upperclassmen out of the 22 starting positions. So a lot of new players, underclassmen, had to step in, or players who were underclassmen last year had to step into starting positions. So The offensive line was mainly rebuilt. I think there was one starter back. Offensive line, very important. If there's not
Kind of important.
I mean,
yes.
if you don't have a place to run, you can't show how good you are as a runner. So, also sophomore quarterback. Remember Jacob Winters, Division I quarterback playing now at Ohio University. He graduated after 4 years at Jackson. So we had Bodie Wolford, who had played on the reserve team last year, step up as the sophomore starting quarterback.
Oh, wow.
Had a lot of new players on defense too. So I know that Jackson plays a tough schedule. So I'm thinking people are going to be disappointed if his team loses a few games, which, they might against tough competition.
Sure.
As they find themselves, they're bound to get better as the season goes. Well, they have gotten tons better as the season's gone on. And as it was, they've only lost one game. That was in week 2 at Ironton, 35-14. I would almost guarantee you if they played Ironton again, I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I will say this. I think it would be a closer game than what it was there in week 2. But the Ironmen, as I said, it had a running clock the last 6 games, a running clock in every FAC game, won by big margins. And then in their 5th game of the regular season, that was non-conference. They beat Hamilton Ross. That was also a running clock. So 6 running clocks in a row. So Bodie, I was getting around to him, sophomore quarterback. There's always a spotlight on the quarterback no matter what. Jackson had, Cade Wooford and Nolan Johnson back, and so they were probably going to be a running team. Coach Hall is a very good offensive coach. He always has some good passing plays in his stable, and you got to be able to do both if you're going to be successful.
Sure.
But Jackson has always been that old school type power running team. It's kind of in the genes. And so the thought was it will really be a running team this year by necessity to give Bodie Wolford, time to develop as a quarterback. Well, he has developed as a quarterback, and now Coach Hall will throw the ball a lot more than he did earlier in the season. Let me tell you what Bodie did. He's just not a throw-in on this all-FAC team. This year, he has thrown 16 touchdown passes. He's gone over 1,000 yards passing. He did that the last game. And he had, how many interceptions he's had? 1.
Nuh-uh.
1 interception all year. If you have 16 touchdown passes and 1 interception, Joe Burrow would take that.
Yeah,
I guarantee you. Any quarterback in Christendom would take that.
Yeah.
So Bodie has had a great, great season. There's an old phrase that coaches go by and fans go by, taking care of the football. Jackson has done that this year. Bodie has only thrown 1 interception, and they've only had 2 fumbles that they've lost. That is incredible.
Wow.
10 games and 3 turnovers. The average probably for a game is probably 2 maybe.
I was going to say, that's per game.
If you have 2 turnovers a game, you can maybe live with that. If you have much more than that, it's probably going to affect your success.
Sure.
Because, you're taking away a chance to score and maybe giving the other team a chance to score. But Jackson has taken care of the football. They have given up some yards and first downs and a few points, but they have not given up big plays. And with their offense averaging over 40 points a game, it's hard to keep up with them.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson also scores very quickly. Cade Wooford and Nolan Johnson are breakaway runners, and as we said, Bodie Wooford has thrown 16 touchdown passes this year. So Jackson can score very fast, and they have kept the other team from getting easy touchdowns. Teams have driven the ball on them, had some long touchdown drives. There's been some of those, but Jackson makes it hard on you. What do they say? They make you work for it.
Yep.
And so I'm just trying to give you some of the qualities that have made this Jackson team so special. But I'm going to switch real quick because there is another sport that deserves a little bit of attention, a lot of attention actually, and that is our girls soccer team.
Yes.
Unfortunately, their season came to a close last night.
No.
This is a
Bummer.
celebration after their sectional tournament victory that got them to the district. I think this was after they won the sectional tournament, because since then they also won a district tournament game. But this last night they played at Marietta. Marietta through the years has been a nemesis in soccer. Very good soccer program at Marietta when Jackson was in the SOAL. And Marietta was very good again this year, but Jackson was very good. So this was considered to be a great showdown game. But Marietta defeated our Iron Ladies last night at Logan by a score of 2-0. So
bummer.
Jackson, it is a bummer, but Jackson.
But they're awesome.
They are awesome. Marietta is awesome, and Jackson is awesome.
Yep.
How awesome is Jackson? in case you've been sleeping a little bit, they finished with a record of 16 wins, 2 losses, and only 2 ties. They, of course, run the Frontier Athletic Conference title. They won a sectional tournament championship, and they won a district semifinal game. That was over at Zane Trace when they beat when they won their first game there, and then of course they advanced on to the next district level against district tournament against Marietta and lost in that game.
Is that the farthest the ladies soccer team's ever made it?
I think Jackson has been in the district tournament before. I don't think they've ever made the regional. That's the next level.
Okay.
But this team is right at the best in school history if you go on that. And I think on number of wins, they have already achieved that. Now, if I'm wrong on that, someone will probably call me.
Ladies.
But Coach Karina Falks and her staff and the girls deserve a lot of credit. And speaking of some of those girls, we talked about Cade Wolford being the FAC Player of the Year. That's Frontier Athletic Conference for you people that hate acronyms. Maddie Walburn, senior goalkeeper, was the FAC Player of the Year. Now, the goalkeeper, of course, unless you release them and they're out there on the floor, I better be careful. I don't know all the rules in soccer. You don't score points. You keep the other team from scoring points.
Yeah.
But Maddie was so doggone good at that she was considered the top player in our conference. So that is a great honor to be the FAC Player of the Year and being the goalkeeper, because usually, it's someone that's scoring points, But congratulations to her. Other players on the team that made the FAC all-conference team were Sydney Carpenter, she's a sophomore, and Braylon Brennan. They were 2 of the girls who did score a lot of the points. That is Sydney right there, as a matter of fact, number 12. Her older sister, TJ, they're both on the basketball team, too, Jackson's great girls basketball team. She was an important player for the girls, as well as was Sydney Fain, who I think was here on TV with Maddie along with Karina. She was good. You can't honor everybody on the all-conference team, but it was certainly a team effort for our Jackson Iron ladies, and they certainly deserve a lot of credit. Some other girls from Jackson and boys that made the FAC, they were just announced earlier this week. We'll mention their names real quickly. For girls tennis, we had for Jackson, Lauren Carper made the all-conference team. For boys soccer from Jackson, the all-district team, Thatcher Brown, Michael Pirana, and Cohen Davis. For girls volleyball, players of the not players of the year, but all-conference from Jackson, Kenzie Davis and Sydney Hughes. For girls golf, Aubrey Arnold was all-conference, and guess what? She was so doggone good. She's a freshman. She was the FAC Player of the Year.
As a freshman?
As a freshman. That is a great honor.
Wow.
To be not only a freshman, but Jackson did not have the best team in the FAC, but they had the best player, Aubrey Arnold, and she's back for 3 more years. So congratulations to Aubrey. For girls cross country, Jackson did not have anybody that made the all-conference team. For boys cross country, Matthew Gibson made the all-conference team, and you make all-conference by finishing in the top 7, I believe, in the conference meet.
Okay.
And in boys golf for Jackson, there was nobody in Jackson that made all-conference in boys golf. I think that's based on finish in the conference meet as well. So that's the sports as we give it to you. We'll go to a little bit of news now and some of the things going on this weekend. Want to tell you about some on the criminal justice front, some crime stories. There was a major traffic stop by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office up in Vinton County. This happened on U.S. Route 50, and it was just last Tuesday. And the traffic stop involved a female driver named Julie Whitaker, age 40, of South Bloomingville. There is Julie, not looking very happy in the patrol car or in her car when they took that picture. But when they made that arrest, they noted that 2 loaded firearms were located on the driver. She was packing 2 loaded firearms, which
holy
moly, I don't believe you can do when you're driving. So they did a search of the car. That allowed them to search the car, and this is what they found. Let's see, 55 grams of suspected fentanyl.
What?
12 grams of suspected methamphetamine, numerous scheduled narcotics in pill form, 15 grams of marijuana, more than $700 in cash, and of course the 2 firearms and some digital scales. That makes it look like that you're not only maybe doing drugs, but selling drugs.
Yeah.
When you have that kind of quantity there. Anyway, she has been charged with multiple counts of narcotics and firearms offenses, and she was taken to the Fairfield County Jail. According to the Drug Enforcement Administration, the Vinton County Sheriff's Office threw this into their news release, a lethal dose of fentanyl for the average person is 2 milligrams. We've talked time and again how dangerous fentanyl is, not only to ingest, but to even handle.
Yeah, exactly.
55 grams, that's what they found in the car. That's enough to kill 27,500 people. So, we've talked so much about the dangers of fentanyl and it being maybe put in some drugs that maybe some unsuspected people don't know, or maybe they know, but they just want a bigger buzz. I would hate to know how many of the drug overdoses that we never hear about are because of fentanyl.
Yeah.
People in law enforcement think it's quite high.
Yeah.
And on the criminal justice front who deal with the crimes.
Man, that's some scary
So this was
stuff.
in Vinton County earlier in the week, and we will have that story on our front page. It is online now on the telegramnews.com.
Okay.
Another crime story that we're reporting on the front page, I think it's going to be on the front page because we're doing that right now in Saturday's paper, involved something that happened in Jackson. I just got this report earlier in the week. It happened last weekend, as a matter of fact. It was on Saturday night, October the 14th, and it involved a Justin McCoy, age 32, who has a Gallipolis address. But on that night, the Jackson police got a report of a man who was running in Chillicothe Street, hyperventilating and running around and blocking traffic. And this was at 10:20 p.m. at night. Okay, so not a good situation. So officers responded to the scene. They claimed that McCoy was not, they later identified him as McCoy. They didn't know he was right at the beginning.
Sure.
But he ran from him. And they caught up to him at a bridge on Chillicothe Street near the Chillicothe-Athens Street intersection. He put his hands on the railing of the bridge, and they thought he was going to jump over the bridge. So, of course, they're trying to restrain him. Well, in the course of that struggle, McCoy reportedly kicked an officer in the face.
Oh.
That has resulted in a charge of assault of a peace officer. That is a felony. He also faces charges of resisting arrest, obstructing official business, disorderly conduct by intoxication, and pedestrian in roadway, which means that you're a pedestrian in the roadway when you shouldn't be. So all that occurred on the evening of Saturday night, October the 14th. During that incident, police punched McCoy in the face twice when they were defending themselves. They put that into the report too, so it got pretty ugly there. Before it was over, officers from the Jackson County Sheriff's Office and a trooper from the Jackson Post of the State Highway Patrol, as well as Jackson County EMS, were all on the scene. Now, McCoy did not claim any injury. EMS was on the scene. He refused treatment at the scene, so he must not have been hurt too bad. The officer was not hurt very badly either, who was kicked in the face, but you're not supposed to do that. So we'll have that report in the paper.
What a mess.
We'll have that report in the paper as well. All right, speaking of the upcoming election, of course, a lot on the ballot in the November 7th general election. And towards that end, Mayor Anthony Brenner and the Wellston City Administration conducted a town hall meeting last Tuesday evening at the City Council chambers. That was to explain and pitch the new levy, the additional levy that will be for recreation levy in the city of Wellston, and it would pay for a lot of things, but the number one thing would be for the construction and operation of a pool, which Wellston does not have.
Correct.
They would like to have one. They believe that would, improve the quality of life in Oak Hill, be great for kids and families and so forth. And since it would be subsidized by the city, obviously it would be affordable. And so that's what this levy would help pay for.
Okay.
So anyway, The only person that was there from the public was the Wellston City School Superintendent, Dr. Brian Rao. And we know how effective he is.
Wait, nobody came?
No, but well, Jeremiah Shaver came, our Telegram multimedia journalist. So they're
Weird.
either nobody cares, they're all for it, or they're all against it, or they had something better to do. Probably the last thing. You know, that doesn't mean that nobody cares necessarily, but they did not care enough to come and learn more about it, to even complain about the prospect of new taxes.
Interesting.
So I'm not sure what that means for the levy, but
Yeah.
Jeremiah Shaver's got a report that we hope to have in our Saturday paper, but that will be on the ballot in the November 7 election. Of course, people are voting now early on that, but that levy is a 5 mil levy. That is high millage.
Yeah.
You know? But once again, Anthony Brenner has made the argument, wanted to make the argument at the town hall, what it would be for it, and that it would be a good thing for Wellston and moving forward. They hope to kind of pair, if they get the money from that levy, they kind of hope to pair it with some grant money that they will get from this Appalachian Grant Program. Now, they haven't got that money yet, but they're asking for some things that are kind of recreation-oriented that would build on what they already have there, and they figure it would all dovetail together if they get those grants. And that's on down the line, but it could happen.
We'll see.
We will see. All right. There's going to be a party Saturday night in Wellston, and guess who it's for? It's for a dog.
Aw.
Falk, the Wellston police dog, is retiring.
Aw.
And he's been on duty.
Bless
He's
his heart.
10 years old, and he's been on duty since 2015, and there he is. You see, that was at the last city council meeting. Falk was a special guest there. The man standing
That
by
is
Falk
so cool.
is his handler. They are considered partners. The K9 is considered part of the police department.
Yep.
But Falk, a German Shepherd, is retiring. That is Patrolman Todd Shong, and standing behind is Police Chief John Robinson. So Falk,
he gets a party.
He gets a party on Saturday night, and he is 10 years old. He has 8 years of service with the Wellston Police Department. He has had he's been used 340 times in his career, mainly for narcotics. He is participating in school searches, not only at Wellston, but also at Jackson, Vinton County, in Pike County high schools. He has tracked criminals. He has been involved in searches with the Highway Patrol. He has rendered assistance to the Jackson Police Department, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the Vinton County Sheriff's Office, the Pike County Sheriff's Office, the Oak Hill Police Department, and the Ohio State Highway Patrol. So he has earned his retirement.
He has earned a party.
Right, and he is considered part of the Shong family, and so he won't have to work anymore. He can just be a dog of leisure.
You know what? It's so funny. Like, who's going to be the guy that tells him that he doesn't get to go to work anymore?
Well,
Because I can guarantee you he's going to continue to want to go to work.
I know. That's well, he's just like everybody else. He's going to have to adjust.
You're going to have to retire, buddy.
Right.
Take it easy.
Exactly. But so congratulations to K9 Falk.
That's awesome.
That will be another item that you can count on seeing in our paper. And, you know, speaking of the election, starting next week, Jennifer, the hours for in-person early voting will expand. It'll be even more time that you can go vote. Starting on Monday, the hours at the elections offices will be 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. So not just during traditional work hours, but
you have tons of time
early
to
in
get
the morning and post first shift. You know, you can go.
Okay.
And if you work second or third shift, of course, you know you can easily go because it's open during the regular hours as well. Then, not this weekend, but next weekend, it will also be open certain hours on Saturday and Sunday, and that is heading into the election the following Tuesday, November the 7th, for the general election. Now, we're going to we're already starting to run them, stories about some of the different things that will be on the ballots in both Jackson and Vinton counties. We had a story about the school board races, and there are contests in each of our 4 school districts in last Wednesday's paper. In this paper, we're talking about the ballot on the municipal side. The cities and villages in Jackson County, the villages in Vinton County. We also are running candidate profiles, Jennifer, of the contested candidates only, because, you know, that's where people have to make a choice.
Sure.
We had the 2 candidates running for an unexpired term on the Jackson City Board of Education, Kyle Hickey and Michael Perkins. profiled in our Wednesday paper. In this Saturday paper, particularly if you live in the Wellston City School District, you want to check it out. We have candidate profiles where we ask questions of the 3 candidates running for 2 open seats on the Wellston City Board of Education.
Okay.
That would be Matt Peterson, Adam Massey, and Gerald Bryan Kilgore.
Okay.
And we will be doing that for the Oak Hill School Board candidates and the Vinton County School Board candidates as well. And then later on, for the 2 candidates for Oak Hill Mayor and the 2 candidates for Hamden Mayor. And that is all the contested candidates for
There you go.
for those levels. We'll be running lists of the township candidates, but not any profiles there. But we will make sure you know whose name is on the ballot.
Okay.
Speaking of politics, the Jackson County Democratic Party will have its fall outing this Saturday. That is open to the public. It's going to be Saturday evening at the La Rose's Pizza Banquet Room downstairs. It will start at 5:30 p.m. There will be pizza, salad, coffee, tea, and dessert will be served. There will be adult beverages that are available for purchase. Soda or menu items are not included. The price is $15 per person. You can pay in advance or you can pay at the door. They'll also be selling raffle tickets as well. Now, in addition to just a partisan gathering there and social, political, whatever, they're going to have a notable person there. Liz Walters is the chair of the Ohio Democratic Party. She's in charge of the party. She is going to be a guest there, and I'm sure that she will be speaking as
Super
well.
cool.
She will be the featured speaker. Okay, some other things going on this weekend we want to tell you about. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office will be doing their Drug Take-Back Day. It will be at the Parks Edge Event Center parking lot there on 601 East Main Street, right there in front. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 12.
That's awesome.
The aim is to provide a safe, convenient, and responsible means of disposing of prescription drugs, while also educating the general public about the potential for the abuse of medications. So Drug Take-Back Day tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. in the Parks Edge Event Center parking lot right there in front. Okay, there's also going to be a store opening in Oak Hill. The new Oak Hill Hometown Sports and More, new ownership, will be doing their grand opening and ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. That will be there at 101 East Main Street. And that ribbon cutting will be at 10 a.m. Our Jeremiah Shaver will be there to cover that. There's going to be free refreshments available, cookies and cupcakes. Door prizes will be available as too. And the new Oak Hill Schools mascot, Archie Acorn, will be there to greet all the visitors.
Archie Acorn.
Okay, we are coming up on Trick or Treat. All right.
Okay.
Okay, and the hours are uniform in the 4 municipalities in Jackson County.
Thank goodness.
But in Vinton County, there are different times. So we want to run those down real quick. In Vinton County, we have a couple this weekend, actually.
Okay.
In Zaleski on Sunday, October 29th from 2 to 4 p.m., trick or treat in the village of Zaleski. In Hamden, this Saturday, tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 7, in Wilkesville from 6 to 7 p.m. In Wilkesville. They have a system in Wilkesville. If you have your porch lights on, that means that you're giving out candy. If you don't, that means you're not. The fire department there will also have a trunk or treat event at the old school site from 6 to 7 p.m. So you've got trunk or treat and trick or treat going on at the same time. The fire department will also have a costume contest from 5 to 6 p.m. and they will be giving out free hot dogs at the news station. So it sounds like a good time in Wilkesville. That's tomorrow evening.
Nice.
Remember, Zaleski's on Sunday afternoon. Hamden and MacArthur will both do trick or treat on Halloween, Tuesday, October 31st, but the times are not the same. In Hamden, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. In MacArthur, trick or treat will be 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. In Jackson County, Jackson, Wellston, Oak Hill, Colton, all the same time. The mayors decided to get on the same page on that.
That's such a good idea.
A long time ago.
Yeah.
And so it will be on Halloween night, 5:30 p.m. until 7 p.m. So that's all coming up. So you better get ready to treat or you may get tricked.
That's right.
All right. We also want to tell you about this will be the last, Saturday will be the last time to do Fright at the Fairgrounds, the Haunted Barn. It will be 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. The the fair people do that, the extension people, the 4-H people do that as a fundraiser for the fairgrounds and the 4-H program and the FFA program. but that costs $15. It is a quality entertainment event, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. The Livestock Committee actually does a lot of the work on that, but this is your last chance. They're also going to be doing a haunted barn tonight and the next night at the Vinton County Fairgrounds. That costs $5, and that is new. First time they've ever done it.
Cool.
So try that out, and that supports, of course, the fair and 4-H as well. Okay, there's going to be on Halloween, in connection with Trick or Treat in Oak Hill, what they call a Halloween shindig. And at the Halloween shindig, it will be from 5:15 to 7 p.m. at the Imogene Brunton Davis Memorial Building in Etna Park. And it will include a trunk or treat from 5:30 to 7 p.m. A parade of mass will be at 5:20 p.m. There will be a chili and veal dinner served from 5:15 to 7 p.m. at the Festival of Flags food booth. There will be a costume contest with prizes offered. It's free to enter. Anyone who wishes to distribute candy at the trunk or treat can also set up at 5:20. So the givers and the takers will both be there at the same time.
Okay.
And remember, trick or treat, that is aligned with trick or treat. It will be 5:30 to 7 p.m. as we said, but so a big event there. Speaking of big events, we'll have more on this on Monday because we had so much to talk about. But what an event in Wellston last night, the block party.
Heard it was crazy.
Jeremiah Shaver was there. He's got the pictorial and video evidence.
Look, oh my God.
Times Square. No, that's not Times Square.
Holy
that's
moly.
downtown Wellston, looking towards Ohio Avenue. You see the Louvre in the background there.
That is nuts.
Well, I tell you what, free candy. They did trunk or treat this time. And, of course, the Lions Club gave out its dollar bills as well. So free candy, dollar bills, great weather. So what do you think? Should you be surprised? Yeah, maybe with that many people, you're surprised.
That's a lot of people.
But this was new. The Lions Club have always done the costume contest. Very popular. They say 68 years.
Oh, wow.
So, but anyway, the Ohilco Society jumped in on it. The business community jumped in on it. Some civic groups jumped in on it on the trunk or treat side, and there were vendors there as well. And so it's kind of like the sidewalk market in Jackson. Just seemed to catch
on. Yeah, for sure.
Right. Also, last night there was a Spark in the Park event at Manpower Park. Alex Shope was there, so we'll have coverage on that. We had the Rotary Pancake Supper, named in honor of Sandy Borden. A lot of people there. They had an art auction. Red Thompson Jr. was there, and then Red Thompson motored up State Route 93 to take part in the trunk or treat at the high school parking lot in Vinton County, which was followed by a Peanuts in the Park event at Wyman Park that the health department did. Yep. And Red Thompson was there as well. So we have all this coming. If they don't pass out from all the work and having to go to football games too, that will come later next week.
Very cool.
I'm crossing my fingers. I've got to try to pull it all together.
You know what we could do to make them not pass out? Give them some Pete Wilson coffee.
That'll do it. That'll do it, and maybe a little bit of a sugar rush. Maybe they got a little bit of candy. I know that Red Thompson Jr. did try out the pancakes and sausage at the Rotary Pancake Supper. He did manage that.
No doubt that he did.
All right. Well, we will be back Monday with the reporting on all that stuff, and maybe tell you some more pre-election stuff as well. And who knows what else? Because we can't script the news totally.
No, you cannot. That's for sure. Well, Pete, thank you so much for filling us in on what's going on. Have a blast at the game tonight.
Well, I tell you, it's always fun, with my buddies, Dan Dobbins and Dan Morrow. We've been doing it for a long time. And, all our broadcast crews did such a great job this year. Bob Grillo and Jeff Thacker, I'm so glad that they get a chance to do a playoff game for one of the best Vinton County teams in school history down at Galley Academy tonight. And Corey Ruby and Mike Evans did a great job down in Oak Hill. Corey Ruby, so excited when he broadcast. And then at Wellston, of course, Matt Peterson there doing a great job with Nathan Mollahan as well. And we just hope that everybody comes back next year as well.
Let's keep it going. Keep it going. All right. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy some warm weather because next week it's all downhill from there.
Right.
I heard.
I think I saw the 40s for Tuesday.
40s. They're even talking about the S word next week. Yeah.
Why did you have to say that?
I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I tell you what.
Call me the bearer of bad news.
Okay, but this is also true. How many times have we seen the weather, and then we look at the phone an hour later and it's changed?
That's true too.
All right. We can hope.
Stick your head out the window.
We can hope,
That's all
but
we
it
can
is
tell you.
late October.
It is. It is. We've been blessed. So have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll be right back here on Monday. Bye-bye.
This just in.
The Telegram News has a new website.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Same dedicated coverage.
Same trustworthy news with a brand new look.
Covering Jackson and Benton counties and surrounding areas.
Locally owned and operated, thetelegrammnews.com has its finger on the pulse of the community.
Stay up to date on local events, high school sports, and breaking news.
thetelegrammnews.com.
Subscribe today at thetelegrammnews.com.
Check it out.